If you're over 60 and you've been drinking beet juice because you heard it's good for your heart, great for blood pressure, or a natural energy booster, then you really need to hear this before your next glass, because what I'm about to share today isn't talked about enough, and for some people, it could actually do more harm than good. Beet juice on its own can be powerful, yes, but when you combine it with the wrong foods, especially as you get older, it can quietly trigger issues with your blood pressure, kidneys, digestion, and even your heart. And the scary part is, many people think they're doing something healthy while their body is struggling behind the scenes. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which common foods you should never mix with beet juice after 60. And more importantly, how to use beet juice safely so it actually works for you instead of against you. Beet juice has gained a reputation as a natural health booster, especially among people over 60 who are looking for gentle, food-based ways to support their heart, circulation, and energy levels. On the surface, it seems like an ideal choice. It's natural, it comes from a vegetable, and it's often recommended by health blogs, fitness enthusiasts, and even some medical professionals. But what often gets left out of the conversation is that beet juice is not a mild food. It is biologically active, meaning it directly affects how your body functions, particularly your blood vessels, kidneys, and digestive system. And once you pass the age of 60, your body no longer responds to powerful foods the same way it once did. The systems that filter, regulate, and balance nutrients become more sensitive, more easily overwhelmed, and slower to recover from imbalances. As we age, one of the most important changes happens in the kidneys. Even in people who have never been diagnosed with kidney disease, kidney function naturally declines with time. This doesn't mean the kidneys stop working, but it does mean they become less efficient at filtering excess minerals, waste products, and compounds from the blood. Beet juice contains high levels of nitrates, potassium, and oxalates, all of which require kidney processing. In a younger body, this usually isn't a problem. In an older body, especially one that is also dealing with medications, dehydration, or other dietary factors, this added load can quietly strain the kidneys without obvious warning signs at first. Another major change that comes with age is how the cardiovascular system responds to substances that affect blood flow. Beet juice is well known for its ability to increase nitric oxide levels in the body. Nitric oxide relaxes blood vessels, improves circulation, and can lower blood pressure. This is often why beet juice is praised as a heart-healthy drink. But after 60, blood vessels are often less elastic, blood pressure regulation is more delicate, and many people are already taking medications to manage hypertension or heart conditions. When beet juice is added on top of these factors, its blood pressure-lowering effect can become too strong, especially when combined with other foods that have similar effects. What makes this situation more complex is that beet juice rarely acts alone. Most people don't drink beet juice in isolation and then wait hours before eating anything else. It's commonly added to smoothies, paired with meals, or consumed alongside other healthy foods. This is where problems can begin. Certain food combinations can amplify the effects of beet juice in ways that the aging body struggles to control. Instead of a gentle improvement in circulation, the result can be sudden drops in blood pressure, dizziness when standing up, or a feeling of weakness that seems to come from nowhere. Digestion also changes significantly with age, and this plays a role in how beet juice affects the body. Stomach acid production tends to decrease over time, which alters how nutrients are broken down and absorbed. Beet juice is rapidly absorbed, and when digestion is slower or less efficient, it can enter the bloodstream quickly and in concentrated amounts. When this happens alongside other nutrient-dense foods, the body may not have time to adjust, leading to symptoms that feel confusing or unrelated, such as bloating, nausea, or a heavy sensation after eating. Medications add another layer of complexity. Many people over 60 take prescriptions for blood pressure, heart rhythm, diabetes, or cholesterol.
Beet juice can interact with these medications, not by direct chemical conflict, but by enhancing or duplicating their effects. For example, if a medication is designed to lower blood pressure and beet juice is consumed with foods that also support vasodilation, the combined effect can push blood pressure too low. This can result in lightheadedness, balance issues, or even fainting, which increases the risk of falls, a serious concern as we age. Hydration status also matters more than many people realize. Older adults are more prone to dehydration, partly because the sense of thirst becomes less reliable with age. Beet juice has a mild diuretic effect, meaning it can increase urine output. When combined with foods that also affect fluid balance, this can lead to dehydration more quickly than expected. Dehydration further stresses the kidneys and can concentrate minerals in the blood, intensifying the effects of beet juice and increasing the likelihood of discomfort or adverse reactions. The idea that a food is healthy does not automatically mean it's appropriate in all situations or in all combinations. Beet juice is a perfect example of this. Its benefits are real, but so are its risks when used without awareness. The aging body thrives on balance, not extremes. It prefers steady, moderate inputs rather than strong surges of biologically active compounds. When beet juice is combined with other powerful foods, the body may struggle to maintain that balance, leading to subtle warning signs that are easy to dismiss or misattribute to aging itself. Many people assume that feeling tired, dizzy, bloated, or off is just part of getting older. In reality, these sensations are often signals that something in the diet is not working in harmony with the body. Beet juice can amplify these signals because it affects multiple systems at once. It influences blood flow, mineral balance, digestion, and kidney function simultaneously. When those systems are already operating with less flexibility due to age, the margin for error becomes smaller. There is also the issue of cumulative effects. Drinking beet juice once in a while may not cause noticeable problems, but regular consumption, especially when paired with certain foods, can gradually increase strain on the body. The strain doesn't always show up in dramatic ways. It may appear as fluctuating blood pressure readings, recurring digestive discomfort, or lab results that slowly move out of optimal ranges. Over time, these small changes can contribute to larger health issues if they go unrecognized. Another factor to consider is that nutritional advice is often generalized and based on studies involving younger or middle-aged participants. The recommendations that circulate online rarely take into account the unique physiology of people over 60. What works well for a 35-year-old athlete may not be suitable for a 65-year-old retiree with a different metabolic rate, medication profile, and health history. Beet juice is frequently promoted in fitness contexts without sufficient discussion of how age impacts it. Listening to the body becomes increasingly important with age, yet many people override their instincts in the name of health trends. If a drink is labeled as healthy, there is a tendency to ignore discomfort and assume the body will adapt. In reality, adaptation becomes harder with age. The body still communicates clearly, but the signals may be quieter and easier to overlook. Paying attention to how you feel after consuming beet juice with meals can reveal patterns that are more valuable than any generic recommendation. It's also important to understand that the goal of healthy eating after 60 is not optimization in the sense of pushing the body to perform at peak levels, but support and preservation. Foods should help maintain stability, protect organs, and reduce stress on systems that are already working harder than they once did. Beet juice can fit into this approach when used thoughtfully, but it can undermine it when consumed without regard for food combinations and individual tolerance. The conversation around beet juice often focuses on what it adds to the body, but not enough attention is paid to what it demands from the body. Processing nitrates, filtering minerals, adjusting blood vessel tone, and managing rapid nutrient absorption all require energy and coordination between organs. In a younger body, this demand is easily met. In an older body, especially one managing chronic conditions or medications, this demand tips the balance from support to stress. Understanding these dynamics does not mean eliminating beet juice out of fear. It means respecting its potency and recognizing that health is highly individual, particularly later in life. What feels invigorating for one person may feel destabilizing for another. Age amplifies these differences because the body's ability to buffer extremes diminishes over time. Small dietary choices can have larger effects, for better or worse. The most important takeaway is that beet juice is not a neutral beverage. It actively changes how the body functions, and after 60, those changes need to be approached with intention. Combining it with the wrong foods can magnify its effects in ways that challenge the heart, kidneys, digestion, and blood pressure regulation. This is not about fear, but about awareness and respect for how the aging body truly works, and recognizing that real health comes from harmony rather than intensity.
As people move past the age of 60, the way the body handles food combinations becomes far more important than most realize, and beet juice is one of those foods that can quietly cause problems when paired with the wrong things. On its own, beet juice already has a strong physiological effect, but when it is combined with certain common foods, those effects can multiply in ways that the aging body struggles to regulate. One of the most significant and underestimated issues comes from combining beet juice with other nitrate-rich foods such as spinach, arugula, kale, and lettuce. These leafy greens are often praised as superfoods, and rightly so, but they also contain high levels of nitrates. When beet juice is consumed alongside them, nitrate intake can become excessive very quickly. In older adults, this can cause blood vessels to dilate too much, too fast, leading to sudden drops in blood pressure. This is why some people feel dizzy, lightheaded, or weak shortly after consuming what they believe is a very healthy meal. The body simply cannot stabilize blood pressure efficiently when multiple nitrate sources are stacked together, especially if medications are also involved. High-potassium foods are another major concern when combined with beet juice. Beets naturally contain a substantial amount of potassium, which plays a key role in muscle contraction and heart rhythm. Foods like bananas, avocados, oranges, coconut water, beans, and sweet potatoes are also potassium-rich. While potassium is essential, too much of it can be dangerous, particularly for people over 60, whose kidneys are no longer as efficient at filtering excess minerals from the blood. When beet juice is paired with these foods, potassium levels can rise beyond what the body can comfortably manage. This can interfere with the electrical signals that regulate the heartbeat, sometimes causing sensations like fluttering, skipped beats, chest tightness, or unexplained anxiety. Muscle weakness, tingling, and fatigue can also occur, and because these symptoms are subtle at first, many people fail to connect them to diet. Over time, repeated potassium overload places unnecessary stress on both the heart and kidneys. High-calcium foods are another major concern when combined with beet juice. Dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurt, along with calcium-fortified plant milks, are often consumed as part of a balanced diet to support bone health after 60. However, beets are high in oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium in the digestive tract. When beet juice is consumed with calcium-heavy foods, calcium oxalate can form, increasing the risk of kidney stones. This risk becomes more pronounced with age, particularly in people who are prone to dehydration or who have had kidney stones in the past. What makes this combination especially problematic is that it can reduce calcium absorption where it is actually needed, such as in bones, while increasing the likelihood of calcium being deposited in the kidneys. This means that the very foods people are consuming to protect their bones may inadvertently be contributing to kidney stress when combined with beet juice. Protein-heavy meals can also amplify negative effects when paired with beet juice, especially animal proteins like red meat, processed meats, and large portions of poultry. High protein intake increases the acid load in the body, and when this acidic environment interacts with oxalate-rich beet juice, the kidneys are forced to work harder to maintain balance. In older adults, this added workload can increase the risk of kidney strain and stone formation. Digestively, this combination can also feel uncomfortable.
Beet juice stimulates bioflow and digestive activity, while heavy protein requires significant digestive effort. Together, they can overwhelm the digestive system, leading to bloating, sluggishness, and a heavy feeling that lasts for hours. Instead of supporting energy and vitality, the combination often leaves people feeling drained and uncomfortable. Salty and sodium-heavy foods represent another problematic pairing with beet juice. Processed foods, canned soups, cured meats, packaged snacks, and restaurant meals often contain far more sodium than the body needs. Sodium affects fluid balance and blood pressure, often pushing blood pressure upward. Beet juice, on the other hand, relaxes blood vessels and lowers vascular resistance. When these opposing forces are present at the same time, the body struggles to maintain equilibrium. This can result in unpredictable blood pressure readings, swelling in the legs or feet, headaches, and a general feeling of imbalance. For older adults whose blood pressure regulation is already less responsive, this tug-of-war can increase cardiovascular strain rather than reduce it. Sugar-heavy foods are another hidden issue when combined with beet juice. Beet juice contains natural sugars, and when it is consumed alongside desserts, pastries, sweetened cereals, white bread, or sugary drinks, it can cause rapid spikes in blood glucose, followed by sharp crashes. After 60, insulin sensitivity often declines, making blood sugar regulation more challenging. These spikes and crashes can lead to fatigue, shakiness, irritability, brain fog, and increased inflammation. Over time, repeated blood sugar instability can worsen metabolic health and increase the risk of type 2 diabetes. Many people associate these symptoms with aging, not realizing that their breakfast or snack combination is the real trigger. Fermented and probiotic-rich foods such as sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, kefir, and yogurt can also create digestive distress when consumed with beet juice. Both beet juice and fermented foods are highly active in the gut. Beet juice increases nitric oxide production and gut motility, while fermented foods introduce beneficial bacteria and fermentation byproducts. In older adults with more sensitive digestive systems, this combination can overstimulate the gut, leading to gas, bloating, cramps, and changes in bowel habits. As the gut lining becomes more delicate with age, too much stimulation at once can irritate rather than nourish the digestive tract. This can discourage people from consuming otherwise healthy foods simply because the combinations are not well tolerated. What makes these combinations particularly risky is that the symptoms they cause are often subtle and delayed. A person may not feel immediate discomfort, but may notice fatigue, dizziness, or digestive upset later in the day. Because these effects are not dramatic, they are easy to dismiss or attribute to other factors like stress, poor sleep, or aging itself. Over time, however, repeated exposure to these combinations can contribute to chronic strain on the kidneys, heart, and digestive system. The cumulative effect is far more important than any single meal or drink. Another layer of risk comes from medications. Many people over 60 take medications for blood pressure, heart rhythm, diabetes, or cholesterol. The food combinations discussed can amplify or interfere with how these medications work. For example, combining beet juice with nitrate-rich or potassium-rich foods while taking blood pressure medication can push blood pressure too low or disrupt heart rhythm. These interactions are rarely discussed in dietary advice, yet they play a significant role in how the body responds. Natural foods can still have powerful effects, especially when combined in ways that overlap with medication mechanisms. Hydration status further influences how these combinations affect the body. Older adults are more susceptible to dehydration, and beet juice has a mild diuretic effect. When combined with salty foods, high-protein meals, or potassium-rich foods, fluid balance can be disrupted even more. Dehydration concentrates minerals in the blood, intensifying their effects and increasing kidney strain. This is one reason why symptoms may appear suddenly or feel more severe than expected after what seems like a normal meal. The common theme across all these combinations is excess. Each food on its own may be beneficial, but together they push certain physiological systems beyond their comfort zone. The aging body is less adaptable to extremes and relies more heavily on consistency and moderation. When beet juice is layered on top of multiple nutrient-dense or physiologically active foods, it can tip the balance from support to stress. This is not because the foods are unhealthy, but because the combinations do not respect the reduced buffering capacity that comes with age. Understanding these interactions empowers people to make better choices without giving up foods they enjoy or rely on for health. Awareness allows for smarter timing, moderation, and pairing of foods. It also helps explain why some people feel worse after adopting diets that are widely considered healthy. The issue is not the intent, but the interaction. After 60, the body responds more strongly to what is combined, not just what is consumed, and beet juice is one of the clearest examples of how powerful those interactions can be.
The idea that you must completely avoid beet juice after 60 is one of the biggest misunderstandings in nutrition, and it often causes unnecessary fear or confusion. The truth is that beet juice can still be a helpful and supportive addition to your diet when it is used thoughtfully and with awareness of how your body has changed over time. Aging does not mean your body stops benefiting from nutritious foods, but it does mean that the margin for error becomes smaller. What once worked effortlessly now requires a bit more intention, and beet juice is a perfect example of a food that rewards moderation rather than excess as the years go on. One of the most important shifts that happens after 60 is that the body becomes less forgiving of extremes. Large doses, frequent intake, or stacking multiple powerful foods together can overwhelm systems that are already working harder than they used to. Beet juice is highly concentrated and fast-acting, which is why timing matters so much. Drinking it on an empty or lightly fed stomach allows the body to process it more gradually without competing demands from heavy digestion. Many older adults find that a small amount earlier in the day feels supportive, while larger amounts or late-day consumption leads to discomfort or sleep disruption. Moderation is not about restriction, but about matching intake to your body's actual needs. A few ounces of beet juice can deliver meaningful benefits without pushing blood pressure, digestion, or mineral balance too far. More is not better, especially with foods that actively change how the body functions. Over time, people often discover that reducing the quantity of beet juice actually improves how they feel, giving them steady energy instead of highs and lows that leave them feeling drained. Another key factor is spacing beet juice away from certain meals. When beet juice is consumed separately from heavy, mineral-dense, or protein-rich foods, the body can respond to it more smoothly. This separation reduces competition for digestion and absorption and lowers the risk of nutrient overload. Instead of combining beet juice into complex smoothies or meals, treating it as a simple, standalone drink often makes it easier for the body to handle, particularly for those with sensitive digestion or fluctuating blood pressure. Listening to your body becomes increasingly important with age, and beet juice offers clear feedback if you pay attention. Subtle sensations like lightheadedness, unusual fatigue, bloating, or changes in heart rhythm are not random. They are signals that something may be out of balance. Adjusting timing, quantity, or frequency often resolves these issues without needing to eliminate the food entirely. This process of observation and adjustment builds confidence and helps you develop a diet that truly supports your individual needs rather than following generalized advice. Frequency is another area where people often go wrong. Drinking beet juice every single day may not be necessary, and for some may even be counterproductive. The body benefits from variety and rest, and rotating foods allows different systems to recover and recalibrate. Many people over 60 feel their best when beet juice is used a few times a week rather than daily. This approach provides benefits without creating cumulative stress on the kidneys, blood vessels, or digestive system. Hydration plays a supporting role in how well beet juice is tolerated. Adequate water intake helps the kidneys process nitrates, potassium, and oxalates more efficiently.
When the body is even mildly dehydrated, these compounds become more concentrated in the blood, intensifying their effects. Making sure you are well hydrated before and after consuming beet juice can significantly reduce unwanted side effects and improve overall comfort. Medication awareness is also essential. Beet juice can enhance the effects of certain medications, particularly those related to blood pressure and circulation. This does not mean beet juice is unsafe, but it does mean that coordination matters. Some people benefit from consuming beet juice at a different time of day than their medications, allowing each to work without overlapping too strongly. Paying attention to how you feel and discussing dietary habits with a healthcare provider can help ensure that natural foods and medications work together rather than against each other. Another often overlooked aspect is emotional comfort and enjoyment. Food should support not only physical health, but also a sense of ease and satisfaction. If beet juice becomes a source of worry or discomfort, it loses its value as a health-supporting choice. Finding a way to incorporate it that feels gentle and manageable helps maintain a positive relationship with food, which is especially important later in life when quality of life matters just as much as longevity. The broader lesson with beet juice applies to many so-called superfoods. Health after 60 is not about chasing powerful effects or dramatic changes. It is about stability, resilience, and supporting the body's natural rhythms. Foods that work in harmony with those rhythms tend to be better tolerated and more beneficial over time. Beet juice can fit into this approach when it is respected for its potency and used with intention rather than enthusiasm alone. Personal history matters too. Someone who has never experienced kidney stones, blood pressure fluctuations, or digestive issues may tolerate beet juice differently than someone who has dealt with these concerns. There is no universal rule that applies to everyone, which is why self-awareness is more valuable than rigid guidelines. Small experiments, such as adjusting portion size or timing, often reveal what works best for your unique body. The goal is not perfection, but responsiveness. The body changes, and dietary habits should evolve with it. Beet juice does not need to be abandoned to stay healthy after 60, but it does need to be approached with a mindset of cooperation rather than control. When you work with your body instead of pushing it, even powerful foods can become allies rather than stressors. True wellness later in life comes from understanding that health is not built on intensity, but on consistency and balance. Beet juice can support circulation, energy, and overall vitality when it is used wisely, spaced appropriately, and consumed in amounts that feel supportive rather than overwhelming. The more you tune in to how your body responds, the clearer it becomes that the best health choices are rarely extreme, but instead rooted in moderation, awareness, and respect for the body you are living in now, rather than the one you had decades ago, allowing nourishment to feel supportive, steady, and sustainable over time.